So Speedsters, we finally got a proper origin to Nora, including basically a whole episode in the future, but not only did we get that, we got Godspeed. Now, was he good or was he disappointing? Well, let's break this whole episode down. Season 5, episode 18, titled Godspeed. How's it going, Speedsters? Welcome to a brand new Flash Season 5, Episode 18 review and breakdown of the episode Godspeed. Now, this episode was pretty awesome for many different reasons. Now, as for Godspeed himself, I enjoyed his character, but it does seem that they did make him like a one-off villain. Like, for most of the comments I saw across the internet, they were like, they better not make him a one-off villain. So I feel like a lot of people might be a bit angry about that, I'm not sure, but I feel like the way they kind of did him was something that nobody expected through Velocity 9 and whatnot. Before we go ahead and break down any more of this, guys, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date with more videos just like this, and of course give this video a like just to show your support for the channel, as it really does help out. And of course, if you want to talk about the Flash with me directly outside of YouTube and outside of this video, be sure to join my Discord server. Links are in the description down below. So right off the bat, guys, of course we had Barry and Iris debating about Nora lying about Thorn. This was essentially the synopsis, really. Like, Barry and Iris disagree on how to deal with Thorn or whatever it was, which is fair enough. You know, Barry's acting more on the impulsive side of things. We spoke about this before. There's a lot of history in it for him, but Iris, from the kind of motherly understanding side, is just like, I'm sure there's a bit more to this. Even Sherlock was getting a bit of hate almost in this episode because he was, I don't get why, because he was like, yeah, well, if it weren't for me, you wouldn't have found any of this out, and everyone's just kind of giving him the evils. So this took us to 2049, guys, with Nora arriving at the CSI scene, very much so nerding out like a very earlier Barry that we saw, maybe even in the first Arrow episode, and then very early on in season 1. She's very much so acts like a father. I mean, she practically is just like her father, who was a CSI for the CCPD. And Nora thought that whoever stole these chemicals, because that's what basically Godspeed was doing, stealing different stuff to try and make up Velocity 9 this episode. She thought it was a speedster just because of no evidence and everything like that. But this is where we got interesting things throughout the episode from Leah, Nora's best friend, who, you know, said, you know, my friend, there hasn't been a speedster since the Crisis piece that your mother wrote about, you know, and she went on to say how people like Kid Flash, Jesse Quick, Jay Garrick, and she even said the purple person, which I thought was Accelerated Man first of all, but I was like, wait, no, technically Accelerated Man hasn't really been running around on this earth, so I'm guessing she meant Iris with the purple lightning. They're all gone, they're all gone. So interesting to note that Uncle Wally or even other people haven't been around since Crisis, which I don't think was a given thing beforehand. You would have to have assumed, I think a lot of people did before this episode, that Wally was still kicking around one way or another. I also love how Nora's lab is like full of Flash figures. I haven't got a couple of those myself, the one with the lightning coming off it, but I remember seeing that in the store and I was like, I want that. But either way, I like the parallels drawn between Nora and her father as well, and how she kind of has not really a murder board, but an investigation board like Barry did about his mother's death, but she has a board about solving the one case her father, Barry Allen, couldn't solve, or should I say the Flash or whatever, and that is, you know, finding Cicada. So since Nora was pretty convinced that this was a speedster who was stealing stuff, that, you know, the actual case she was investigating this episode, she went to the Flash Museum. That's where we got a cool little narration about Earbud Thorn, aka the Reverse Flash, who was finally defeated and incarcerated and will remain in Iron Heights prison for the rest of his days. Well, not really, he's kind of being put to death by the looks of it at a certain point. But either way, you know, this whole episode, even in the Flash Museum, it doesn't say who incarcerated him, like who captured him, and even when Nora meets with him at a certain point in the episode, he even avoids that question. So I guess they're really trying to keep that one under wraps. But this is all because she was looking at the different speedster type, because she was like, I knew there wasn't a speedster with white lightning, as the Flash Museum showed all available types of lightning types, if that makes sense, and white wasn't one of them. And I freaking knew, by the way, I don't know if everyone caught this, but that guy who was August Hart, who we first saw at the Flash Museum, I knew that was going to be Godspeed. They made it, I know what they tried to do there. They were trying to make, oh, like, excuse me as he walked past. But there was just definitely too much attention put on that character when he barged past Nora, or like, you know, or just said, excuse me. I can't remember the exact line, but that was their giveaway. So as things roll throughout the episode, this is where we saw Godspeed arrive at the lab that Leah and Nora were at. And I have to say, a lot of people are like mocking the suit now with the white lightning. What I will say is I still think the suit looks really cool. I really do. I definitely don't agree with the white lightning. Now, I do get it in terms of the reason why is what lightning is like this, or the plot reasons are because of the velocity 9. The whole time I was thinking, oh man, why aren't they giving him his usual lightning color? I was just like, was it really just to complement the white on his suit? Are they obviously give us an explanation for this white lightning, which was, as it just said, the velocity 9. But I definitely don't think it ruins it. But yeah, that would have looked a lot cooler if they gave him like a yellowy lightning with like yellow in the eyes complementing the yellow in on the white in the suit. That would have been masterful. But as a result, guys, Nora gets hit with Godspeed's lightning, and in turn it activates her speed, because as a result, well, it kind of got explained to us by Leah, she kind of went into a cardiac arrest when she was going into the hospital, and as a result they pulled out this kind of little bit of tech, which was the speed dampening chip, which had been fried by the lightning, which is why as soon as that lightning bolt hit her, bang, speed was like bzz, around her system, and even Leah got a burnt hand because she touched the lightning in a very Shazam-esque kind of way. So yeah, that was really, really cool way of, you know, Nora coming to find out about her lineage, if you will. Well, actually at this point she didn't know anything about Barry. So yeah, I just love this part of the episode. Now, of course, what I loved about this, guys, is that Nora was kind of running about doing all the tricks and fails of a speedster, very reminiscent, as I kind of mentioned earlier, with the parallels between Nora and CSI, with her father kind of parallels, and now she's being a newbie little speedster, you know, trying to stop the robbers, and as a result she just kept pinging into those cars. So guys, after this, Nora comes up with the idea of, to stop a villainous speedster, she needs to think like a villainous speedster, and the only way to do that is to speak to one villainous speedster that she knows about, who is in the Iron Heights, and that is the Reverse Flash. Now, I was very excited for this part in the episode to see, you know, a lot of us were really excited to see the beginnings of Thorn and Nora, and we finally got that. So what I loved about this is that as he was kind of approaching Nora in the cell, like he was holding his hand up like that in a very Reverse Flash phasing, killing kind of way, pose, if you will, which is definitely a very interesting one to do. It was really cool how Thorn knew that she was a speedster just from the singe marks, the wind burn on her cheeks, and all that kind of stuff. Yet again, as I mentioned earlier, she asked him how she got caught, but that was completely disregarded. So yeah, I just want to know how he was apprehended after Barry let him go at the end of Crisis on Earth X. I want to know that, because if it wasn't any speedsters in the present day, how? Where? What? Why? Who? How? But this is where we saw that security guard as well at the end of that scene when Nora's time got cut short or whatever, getting electrocuted with that red lightning-y kind of stuff. So, yeah, interesting that they do that. I don't really know what to say about it. I guess he's done so much bad that before he's being put to death, they electrocute him as a punishment. Now, it was at this point in the episode that Nora actually learned that the tech from Leah was a speed dampening chip, and this obviously set up this. From this moment onwards, I was looking forward to. I was like, oh crap, are we going to get an argument with future Iris? But anyway, this kind of turned into Godspeed going for even more chemicals, and Nora faces him, and they have a cool little speedster to kind of run around, competition like all speedsters do. And even though I knew this was coming, I was just like, Godspeed, why not kill Nora? Maybe he wanted to keep around a rival or something, but he decides to go for Leah. In a kind of phasing typical speedster killing way. So yeah, I felt really sorry for Nora there. I thought it was really cool how they immediately showed Team Flash's reaction to this. Like, Team Flash are almost like watching this / reading this as we are watching it through the freaking TV. Now this is where we immediately go to the future again, and we see that Nora goes to confront a future Iris. Now Iris does try justifying it, and I do completely get her reasons. Not that everyone would agree with them, like you kind of fall on both sides of it here. And this goes way back to when fans were debating about that very scene where Iris, and Nora reveals that scar to Iris, saying, you did this to me, and I only found out about it 6 months ago relative to her time. So yeah, she just didn't want to lose Nora, and obviously she had no idea about who her father was at this point. So it does all fall in line, and we've already been through all of this in present day. They've come to terms with it. Not that she has come to terms with her future mother, but I wonder if time's gonna catch up with future Iris, that she's already lived this exists in the past. This is where stuff gets confusing in the Flash. So anyway, a little bit of time goes on, and the reveal for the guy in the Flash Museum was indeed Godspeed, August Hart, who was kicked out, I believe, of when he was studying for testing tachyon stimulants on coma patients. So I think this guy's been pretty fascinated with becoming a speedster for quite a while. Trying to, I guess, turn coma patients into speedsters so he could successfully do it on himself. And this is also at the same time where they pointed out earlier on in the episode, Godspeed's lightning went a bit blue, and Nora put all the pieces together. Oh, the chemicals that he was stealing is basically creating velocity 9. We obviously got that callback to trajectory. And as I said, I didn't actually see this part coming, so I thought it was a pretty cool implementation into the one-off Godspeed thing they did, if you will. I know some people could be mad about this, but as Nora said in the episode, there is a way that he could make it himself unstoppable by adding this bonding or whatever agent it is to make the velocity 9 effects completely permanent, so Godspeed would be, well, yeah, forever a speedster, I suppose. Now, I absolutely loved that moment between Thawne and Nora where she really needed his help, and he eventually agreed. So this led on to that massive action sequence with Nora and how she kind of slaps that meta cuff kind of new thing on him. But as a result, he injected even more velocity 9, and that completely destroyed the cuffs. So as a result, on the spot, Eobard through the comms had to teach Nora how to phase already, which I was like, no, don't do that. And I'm glad they didn't, because I don't know, Barry learned after 4, 5, 6 episodes in season 1. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but for Nora to do that there and then was very risky, I guess. And I'm glad she bailed out, because if she would have done that, that would have been a bit too soon, I feel. So I'm glad she didn't. But as a result, the alternative plan, or plan B, shall I say, was to allow those little freaking booms off the satellites or whatever it was. I'm not going to come up with the scientific explanation because I can't remember. Went through Godspeed, and it negated, put anti-endorphins or something in him, and I guess negated the velocity 9. And so he was toast. And that's where we see from that leaked picture way back when we first saw the Godspeed leak, he fell into that sign or something, and yeah, Nora won the day against Godspeed, aka August Hart. To be honest, though, I think my favorite moment from that scene with, Eobard and Nora is definitely Eobard vicariously living through Nora. I mean, even earlier where he was describing that he could tell she was a speedster, he almost just gets so high off imagining the wind on his face and the lightning crackling off the nerve endings of his fingers and his face and stuff whenever somebody talks about being a speedster. And I guess he hasn't been outside that cell in quite a while. So yeah, I love seeing scenes like this with Tom Cavanaugh playing off Eobard Thawne, walking through a speedster, through the steps of being a speedster. It's just awesome. So yeah, as a conclusion to Godspeed, I guess he was a one-off villain, if you will. I mean, some of you may debate this in the comments saying, oh no, Boba, Godspeed can come back again. And I guess you're right in the sense of, I guess if he gets out again and tries to do what he did before, he could. But would that really be an amazing story? Because people were theorizing, oh, what if Godspeed could be the next season's villain, not Red Death, but Godspeed, or if they save Godspeed for another season. Well, based off the conclusion of this episode, with the character of August Hart, that would be pretty naff in my opinion. So this is where we learned that Eobard is definitely being executed, because that was very blatantly his last meal before, on death row, and that was kind of his big belly burger. So that was definitely implied that it is, execution. A lot of other people, including myself, were thinking maybe it's the administration of a metahuman cure, so he won't be a speedster. But it was at this moment in the episode, guys, where the ball really started to get rolling with all the information drops. So, Thawne was saying, how much do you really know about the Flash? So that's when we saw Nora get the ring from the reverse Flash suit. She goes to the time vault. Now in the time vault, there's a whole bunch of goodies in there, basically Team Flash kind of wardrobe department, if you will. She picks up a version of the Flash suit, version 16, which is the gives her the Flash ring, which the suit is inside, which she gives Barry in the very early episodes of this season. It was either episode 1 or 2 when he popped into the new suit. That was from this moment she got that ring. But we did see version 19 of the Flash suit, which was super interesting. But this is where Nora gets a massive reveal about her father. So she goes to speak to Gideon, learns about her father being the Flash, and then there's that video message that was just absolutely heart-touching. Grant Gustin's glassed over eyes, hits me in the feels every time. Now, if you couldn't tell already, guys, that this was filmed during Crisis on Infinite Earths. You could see the red skies in the background. Barry says he doesn't have much time left. Very obviously thinking, okay, I'm about to to die, but I need to shoot this message just in case my daughter becomes a speedster. It just makes sense. I totally bought it. It was totally awesome. Nora's mind was exploding. It was just a really cool moment anyway. Now, I like how they didn't include his cowl though, because that is just basically leaving open to, oh, I wonder what version of the Flash suit we're going to get in Crisis, the one like on the newspaper with his chin strap, or a different kind of cowl like the one we have got now with no chin strap. I think that was very deliberately done there. Now the bit at the very end of the episode, guys, I completely understand. Barry asked everyone to leave, and so he basically took her back to the future. But you know, let's rewind back a couple of seconds. I've been saying this for so many episodes, and I completely am so happy that they've added this in. He was like, I understand learning about your speed. I understand going to Thorn to get back to see me. That all makes sense. Wish it never happened kind of thing, but at the same time, I get it. I really do. But as of the mid-season mark, where I literally revealed to you, my daughter, that freaking Reverse Flash killed your grandmother, my mother, Nora Allen, why did you continue going back after that point when you didn't need to? You already had someone who could teach you about speed, aka Barry Allen, but you kept going back. You kept going back even knowing what he did. And that's, you know, from Nora's perspective, is because I do get it. Like, she's got to know this guy for a while now. She went back there to confront him. If you guys remember, she was crying her eyes out saying, you killed Nora, my grandmother and Barry's mother. But then even after that, she was still willing to let him change. There was that whole dialogue at the end of that episode saying, you know, I'll see if you're willing to change or something like that. So I get how Barry still can't trust her, to be honest. Obviously, this is going to be wrapped up. It really is. Like, he's going to get over it. So obviously, Barry kicks her out to the future, warns her to not come back because he'll feel it in the Speed Force and all that jazz. Which is pretty cool information drop there. Of course, we had Barry visiting Thorn, which I totally forgot about. I totally forgot that that was still yet to happen. And that was a treat. Thorn was just saying, don't put it all on her. I really like that, to be honest. It's like, look, Barry, I'm going to die. Last request of a dead man. Just don't take it out on the daughter. Like, come on. Like, come on. And Barry was just like, you're going to get what you deserve. Death. And just runs off in a hissy fit. I do get it. But if you're wondering, guys, you know, if we're going to see Thorn again, we will. There has been behind the scenes photos that I have covered. I will leave a video up in the cards above, but I'm not going to talk about it mega specific here. But we do see Thorn in the Reverse Flash suit. So one way or another, Thorn is going to somehow evade death. Evade that cell. Very, very enjoyable episode. I don't really know what much else to say about that. And Danielle Panabaker did an amazing job. You know, she even added a little bit of a different element to Godspeed. The future scenes were absolutely amazing. And of course, she nailed the Reverse Flash and, you know, Team Flash dynamic drama throughout this episode very, very well. I just really enjoyed it. Can't wait to see what the back half of this season brings with all of this stuff. But other than that, guys, like this video if you did enjoy it. Subscribe if you're brand new. As I said at the beginning, join my Discord server if you want to talk to me about Flash directly. And other links are in the description to my merch, to Twitter, to Instagram. But thank you so much for watching, Speedsters. Hope you have a lovely rest of your day. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.